research definition, we know what is original, to have an original field of research, and what is gaining, and or contribution, gain or contribution. And now we're going to explain what mean knowledge. Knowledge start from having data, like Abdullah mentioned in the beginning, collect the data. The data becomes information. From the information, we gain the knowledge. I'm saying narrative based on this. That's why you are asked to collect data. Doing research by collecting data. Data does not mean anything, but it gives you the mean to have the information after you process this data. And based on that, you will know, you will have the knowledge or the wisdom. Data. What is the data? Data are the actual element that describe objects or event. They represent raw numbers, for example, collect raw numbers, or text has no meaningful, but you collect them for a purpose to investigate. Let me give you an example. As part of your research project, you may need to gather rainfall data from different sites around your country. يعني the data simply maybe will provide daily rainfall. شو يعني rainfall؟ كمية المطر اللي بتهطل في different places in the country. Let's say I decided to collect the data from 50 different sites. So you gather this raw data is in table with numbers, but at this point the data is there. It has no meaning. It means nothing to anybody. If I provide this data to anybody, they will not understand. Just gather, oh yeah, it has like 11 millimeter in this area at this period of time. That's it. But what does that mean? Does not mean anything. To have information from this data, we have to process them. This is exactly what you need to be doing in your research. So you collect data. Let's say you decided to do a questionnaire, and the question, do you think having control over the time using Facebook is good or bad? You ask 30 people and you see 50% answer yes, 50% answer no. I start to gain information from the data I'm collecting. All right. So these numbers and words need to be analyzed, summarized, processed into more understandable or useful format. In this form, information can be passed to other people to have as a reference in an article or recording or speech, presentation, or so forth. In our early example of the rainfall data, to convert that data into information, we might generate a graph to summarize monthly total, or we can create a chart presenting seasonal fluctuation. Or we may generate a table summarizing average daily rainfall at different sites. This format, when I say graph, chart, summary of average, the data have some meaningful, and you can have some insight information about these data presented. So it becomes information. Data becomes information. So again, we're trying to explain what is knowledge in terms of research definition. So we can understand now knowledge is the higher understanding of things, while information provided, so we become we have a data becomes information, and information gain knowledge, while information provide you with the data of what is happening in the real world. Knowledge represent understanding of why, يعني what happened in the world. Knowledge تعطيك why it's happening, يعني تعرف the reason why it's happening. But information gives you data in a meaningful way to know the amount of rainfall in a city affected by time or based on time and so forth. You understand what is happening, how it rains, what is the pattern of rains. But based on this pattern, you can exclude knowledge to understand why, or to answer why. So knowledge is your personal interpretation. يعني أنت لما when you collect the data and create the information from the data, I want to see your own personal interpretation of the data. هذا إلكم يا شباب لما أنتوا تعملوا الريسيرش ريبورت بدك تعمل your interpretation data. بدي I want to see your input in your report by I want to see you gaining knowledge. You have to explain from the data. I see there is 50 people answer yes, 50 people answer no. There is 50-50. I did not decide if my idea is visible. So I decided to do a different approach of research. I did this and I gathered this data and I created this chart. Based on the chart, I see there is a visibility. So you've given me your knowledge. Why? In your own personal interpretation of what you gain from the information as rules and pattern. تفضل عبد.
انا هاي النقطة ما فهمتها كيف يعني 50-50 انه اذا كان في بعيد ريسيرش ما فهمتها صراحة كويس.
As the example was given, let's say انت عملت question, do you think this idea to control access to Facebook is visible? This question itself, it will give you some data. عندك 30 person you ask this question, 15 answer yes, 15 no. So they give you 50-50. So how you interpret this data? So you cannot conclude an obvious result of your visibility.
طب هاي الحالة ايش ممكن اعمل؟
You have to approach the question different way. You have to ask this question different way. You have to redirect your research in a way that you understand to gain the knowledge.
يعني أغير صيغة السؤال ممكن.
غير صيغة السؤال and يعني to get more focus answers. Probably this question is very generic. I can ask the same question instead of, do you think controlling the time to use Facebook is a good idea or not good idea? Do you think, another question, do you think using Facebook distract you from doing your job, distract you from spending time with your kids? So in this way, you approach the same knowledge with different information or different data you collect.
مهندس
But yes sir.
مهندس يعني هسه الداتا اللي أنا بجمعها من الأسئلة هاي يعني هي بتتحول لإنفورميشن صح؟
Exactly sir.
والإنفورميشن هي تعطيني knowledge.
Yes,
تمام؟
based on the information you gain the knowledge.
أوكي.
So we have a definition according to Orna and Stephen. Knowledge represents the result of experience organized and stored inside each individual own mind. So انت لما تشوف النولج تشوف information, you can exclude the knowledge in your brain. You can come up with a conclusion. It's easy, believe me, but you have to start original. Think, spend time on creating your questionnaire and put emphasis on the question. And when you put your question, think about what is the answer would be and why you asking this question.